Good day, fellow students. I hope all is well. Welcome back to our second online class for PAD350, Principles of Sustainable Development course. Today, I'm going to teach about models of sustainable development, which is the topic in the third chapter of the course. These models will expose the importance of sustainability itself and how do we evaluate the condition of sustainability in order to achieve the sustainable development goal. Alright, let's start our lesson now. Okay, so for today's topic outlines or the content syllabus for topic 3, we are going to look at three models here. So for the first one, we are going to look at the early community development model, followed by popular sustainability model, and then the ideal scientific model. The ideal scientific model is very short one, yeah. So I hope you guys really pay attention more on early community development model and popular sustainability model. So at the end of this topic, students should be able to understand the model of sustainable development such as early community development model, popular sustainability model, and also the last one, the ideal scientific model. First of all, before we talk deeply about the first model, which is the early community development model, we should see the root component of the production of the model itself. In understanding the early community development model, it is integral to understand the concept of the community development or CD, as it is the essential thing in developing out the model. Okay, what is CD or community development? Community development can be defined as a process where community members come together to take collective action and generate solutions to common problems. Community development seeks to empower individuals and groups of people with the skills they need to effect change within their communities. These skills are often created through the formation of social groups, working for a common agenda, for example, reduce poverty, enhance the educational system, search for new resources. So in general, community development refers to the effort made by the members in the community to enhance the quality of life of each of the members in the community for the sake of the whole community's goodness or benefits. So class, according to the meaning of community development, how do we relate or link the connection between community development and sustainable development? Or in other words, how sustainability is seen important in affecting changes in community that lives together? We need to have a flashback to the meaning of sustainable development itself in order to understand the connection, yeah? Sustainable development refers to the development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So, back to the question just now, which is how sustainability is seen important in affecting changes in community that lives together. Based on sustainable development concept itself, sustainability is seen important to maintain the survival of resources and also the living society in one particular place. Hence, next question. What tool or how the effort of maintaining should be imposed? It is through diversification of resources in that area of living. Again, diversification of resources is seen as the way or solution in achieving sustainable development. Okay, class, we move on to the first model of the lesson, early community development model. In order to explain the change happen in the community development without diversification, Bone in 1998 developed a five-stage model to compare changes in the population structure with changes in resource town activities as these places develop and matured. In the first stage, as you can see, the company announces plans to build a resource town and construction begins. After the completion of the town site, which is under category second stage, there is a sharp increase in the population as workers and their families arrive. During the third stage, the population then stabilizes as resource production reaches its peak. However, in the final stage of the model, it occurs when the company announces closure and the population of the town drops when the town is abandoned. Again, while Bond's model reflects some of the restructuring challenges that result in town closure, it does not include alternative development strategies that have emerged to enable small places to diversify into a mixed economy or to develop a new industry. However, in 1998, in the same year as well, he further explained about the potential of a place to sustain life cycle through revitalization or diversification of resources as opposed to town closure. Okay, so if you see here, there are five categories of towns, in which the first one, this is with diversification, the stage. The first one refers to boom-bust towns. The characteristics of these boom-bust towns are single industry mining towns, completed population life cycle, remote location, limited access to outside, competing with regional centers. For examples, Pine Point, Northwest Territories, and Canada. Next one, towns of uncertainty. The characteristics are single industry mining towns, early phase of population life cycle, opportunity exists to diversify. For example, Fort McMurray, Alberta Norman Wells, and Northwest Territories in Canada. Next one, we look at the diversified towns. So, what is the characteristic for diversified towns? Diversify economic base, an example from mining to services centers. It underwent or undergo transformation. For example, Yellowknife, Northwest Territories in Canada. And then the fourth one, which is the sustainable towns. The characteristics for sustainable towns are based on production of renewable resources, for example, forestry, and it has the ability to avoid short life cycle of mining towns, for example, Mackenzie, British Columbia in Canada. Okay, we look in detail of each kind of town. The first one, boom-bust towns. Boom-bust towns refer to single industry mining towns that have completed their population life cycle, such as Pine Point, Northwest Territories, and Canada. Construction of this town and its mine began in 1962. The announcement of the mine closure came in 1983, and by 1996, Pine Point was a ghost town. No revitalization or diversification of resources. You have to see the most important part of boom-bust towns, the one that I highlighted in red. Considered as unsustainable towns. 5 phases early community development explain the concept of boom-bust towns. If you can see here, the one that had been mentioned by Bone in 1998, all these stages is seen here, yeah, in boom-bust towns. Okay, so this is the example of boom-bust towns in Pine Point, Northwest Territories and Canada, from glory to ghost town. Next one, towns of uncertainty. Okay, a single industry mining towns in the early phase of their population life cycle still have an opportunity to diversify their economic base. The town is far from other population centers, making it difficult for the town to develop a regional service role. However, it has a complex urban infrastructure to meet local needs. The future of this town remains uncertain. Please bear in mind that the red sentence, the sentence I highlighted in red is important, yeah? If you see that the first one just now involves no diversification, this one have the opportunity to diversify, but it is uncertain, yeah? Next one, we see the example first. So this is the example of towns of uncertainty just now. Fort McMurray, Northwest Territories and Canada. So the population reduced 11% in the last 3 years. As you can see here, in 2015, permanent population is around 81,000 plus people, and then shadow population 43,000 something, and overall population is around 125,000. In 2018, permanent population decreased to 75,000 only. Shadow population is 36,000 and overall population around 111,000. Okay. Shadow population based upon the following definition. Who resides in a municipality on a seasonal basis for a given period of time but has a residence elsewhere may be counted in the shadow population. Examples are work camps and seasonal workers. The person must reside in the community for not less than 30 days and not more than 6 months. Okay, next one, the third one, which is diversified towns. Diversified town was once a single industry mining town. Then government, services and other amenity jobs are developed to provide with diversified sectors in the town. The place has pursued tourism, diversified into more than one industry, created small-scale value-added industries, and then advantages of new communication technologies. It has a potential to become sustainable town if it could produce renewable resources instead of depending on short life cycle of mine industry. Alright. This is the example of diversified towns in Yellowknife, Northwest Territories, Canada. Okay, you can see the description over here. In 1934, it was a gold mining town. And then in 1980s, it underwent diversified, shifted to a center of government services, and in the 1990s, tourism, transportation, and communication emerged as significant Yellowknife industries. Okay, number 4, the sustainable towns. Sustainable resource towns are those based on the production of renewable resources. With a sustainable resource management strategy, these places can avoid the relatively short life cycle associated with most mining towns. These towns, restructuring their economic activities with diversified industries and able to produce renewable resources such as forestry and agriculture. An example of a sustainable resource town is Mackenzie, BC, that shifted from mining to forest products manufacturing. Okay, this is Mackenzie, British Columbia, Canada. Yeah? So in August 2019, nearly 1,000 people marched at a rally in Mackenzie, BC to draw attention to the devastating or destructive effects the downturn in the forestry sector have had on the community. Okay. See what they say about Mackenzie. We love Mackenzie, we want to live here and we want to have jobs and that sustain us. We just want a sustainable industry to continue our town. This rally in Mackenzie shows the importance of renewable resources to sustain the community in the town. So this is the summary for all categories. For the first category, which is boom-bust towns, it doesn't last too long because it doesn't undergo diversification, or it is without diversification. Second one, towns of uncertainty. It has the potential of diversification, but the status is remain uncertain. And the third one, diversified towns, it undergo diversification. And the last one, sustainable towns, towards achieving sustainable development. Alright, we move on to the next one, to the next model, which is popular sustainability model. Popular sustainability model is a model that illustrates with three common dimensions of sustainability, which are economic, environmental, and also social or culture. There are three types of popular sustainability model, which are the first one, three-leg stool model, followed by three overlapping circles model, and then three nested dependencies model. Remember, yeah? Leg stool model, overlapping circles model, and also nested dependencies model, which are all related to three dimensions, which are economy, environment, and also social. Okay, for the first one, 1.3, which is leg stool model. The three-leg stool metaphor reinforces the three dimensions that are required for us to enjoy a high quality of life. The society is unstable or unsustainable if one of the dimensions is weak. So the downside of this metaphor is that the economic, environmental, and social legs look separate and equal. For three-leg stool model, it has stated that there are three main components that contribute to sustainability. As you can see from the image in the slide, the components, or what this model calls them as dimensions, consists of economic, environmental, and social. So, these three dimensions have the same level of importance, in which all failure in one dimension to stay in balance with the other two dimensions will affect the whole system. In example, if the environment dimension is weak or imbalanced, the other two, which are the social and economy dimensions, will become unstable. For the next one, which is a three overlapping circles model. The overlapping circles model of sustainability acknowledges the intersection of economic, environmental, and social factors. Depending on our mindset, we can resize the circles to show that one factor is more dominant than the other two. So either social, economic, or environment is dominant than the other two. Maybe if you think that environment is much more important than social and economic, you can always adjust the circle. And then if you think that economy is important than these other two, so you can adjust it based on the importance that you think, which is the priority. So sustainability lives here, yeah? Here in between, intersection of these three criteria. It's very simple, so it's very straightforward. I will go to the next one, which is tree-nested dependencies model. So the tree-nested dependencies model reflects the codependent reality. It shows that human society is a wholly owned subsidiary of the environment. Economy dependent on society and society dependent on environment, as you can see here. Economy is over here, and then followed by society and then environment. Have to remember this one, yeah. We have come to the last model of today's lesson, which is the ideal scientific model. This is very straightforward, yeah, and very easy one, simple one. So, ideal scientific model explains that the model to represent of real-world systems should have the following characteristics or perform the following functions. The first one, provide a simplified representation of the reality. Second, represent what is considered to be essential to this reality. The third one, be testable. Fourthly, become the object of study or under the scientific approach. Fifth, be conceptual. Number 6, allow the possibility of measurement and calculation. Number 7, allow explanation of the reality. Number 8, be effective or assume representation of the reality. And number 9, represent the functioning of the real world systems. If you can see here, all of these points have similarity, in which they emphasize on the representation of the reality. Ideal scientific model. According to ideal scientific model, the oversimplified models will never represent real ecosystems. Cooperation between ecologists, economists, conservation biologists, and many other economic, social, and landscape disciplines is a must to construct models that are able to derive sustainable solutions. So from time to time, these kind of people, they have to cooperate, yeah, to come up with a better models of sustainable development in order to have way better solutions to achieve sustainable development. The scientific model incorporates new methods, evolving technologies and techniques. Evolving technologies include the use of spatial agents, spatial agents, humans, cars, boats, and etc. Remote sensing, using airplanes or satellites to gather information. Geographical information systems for gathering information about events on Earth. Statistical modeling tools, and also experimentation and so on. Right? So we have come to an end of our topic 3. So for now, please take care and stay safe.